Access Server comes with a built-in failover feature you can use on a local network. It works by having one server act as the primary while another waits in standby. If the primary goes down, the secondary automatically takes over. This is done with a method called UCARP, which uses VRRP heartbeat network packets. Clients may experience a short disruption, but service will quickly resume. Let's take a look at the setup. A failover setup uses two access servers, one as a primary and the other as the backup. Each server has its own private IP address. The UCARP VRRP method works by setting up a third shared virtual IP address where the currently active node handles all the services. The active server uses that shared IP to handle all the services. If it fails, the backup takes over. On the screen, you can see where we have two access servers with their own IPs. And we will set up the virtual shared IP in a few minutes. To make things easier, we have step-by-step documentation available. Just go to our website, openvpn.net, click on the resources, then open access server documentation. Under high availability, you'll see failover setup. It explains how everything works, plus there is a tutorial link with detailed instructions. Once you click on that link, the very first thing you need to do, please check the prerequisites so your environment is ready. For this video, I'll skip step 1 and 3 since I've already launched my access servers, and we'll start with step 2, then move on to step 4 and continue from there. So you can see step 2 is installing remote synchronization or rsync on the primary node. I already have an SSH session going on to my first access server, so I'm just going to copy these two commands to install the rsync and then paste it in my terminal and hit enter. This is going to take a few seconds, so we're going to wait till it's done. Okay, it's good. And now, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to skip step 3, and then we're going to go to step 4. This is where we're going to set the failover node as a secondary node. Basically, we're going to sign into our second access server. Again, I have another SSH session going on, and we're going to copy this command and paste it to clear all access server settings. Even though this is a new install, I'm going to still run it so we can see what happens. It's going to ask us to confirm by typing delete. So I'm going to go ahead, type delete here and hit enter. This is going to take a little bit of time, maybe about 30 seconds to 60 seconds. So we're going to wait till it's done, and then we continue with step 5. Okay. This is done, so it cleared out all the settings on this node. Now we can move to step 5. Let me clear the board here. And then step 5 is installing rsync on the second access server. So I'm going to copy the commands again and paste it here. Again, it's going to take a few seconds. And here we go, we're done. Now let's move to step 6. Step 6 is setting up the bidirectional SSH access. Now, there are some explanation here. I'm just going to skip through them. Make sure you read these instructions and suggestions. So the very first thing we're going to do, we're going to sign into our primary node with obviously root access and run these commands. So I'm just going to copy these commands and then paste it in my first access server and hit enter. And here we go. Now we need to sign in to our second access server and run the same commands again. So let me go ahead and bring up the terminal, and here we go. So same thing again, it's done. Now we're going back to our first access server, and we paste or copy and paste this command. But we need to make sure we change this IP address to IP address of our second access server. Also, we need to use a correct username. So I'm going to delete this old IP address. Let me type my IP address for the second access server, and I'm going to use my own username here, and then hit enter. Asking for the password. Let me type the password here, and here we go. So this is done. Now we're going to do the same thing on the second access server. So we're going to copy this, but this time we're going to use the IP address of our primary access server. So let me go ahead, clear the board, paste the address here, and then let's fix the IP. I'm going to put the IP address of my first access server, and also I need to change the username to my username. Here we go. And we're done. Hit enter, and again, let's type yes here and password, and here we go. Done. Now we need to run this command on both of the access servers to move the SSH access key to the correct directories for root access. I'm going to copy this command. Just make sure that you replace the username with the correct username. So I'm going to paste it. Let me clear the board. I'm going to paste it here. And then obviously I need to change the username to my username here. Let me go ahead and do that and hit enter. And here we go. And we're going to do the same thing on our first access server. So again, I'm going to change the username and here we go and hit enter. And we're done. Now we're going to test the setup. Let's do an SSH connection from our primary node first. So we're going to do the command SSH root at the IP address of our second access server, basically. So let me go ahead and type this here and then I'll type my the IP address of my second access server and hit enter. And here we go. As you can see now, we're connected to our second access server with root. Now we're going to do the same thing on our second access server as well. So let me go ahead, type the command. And again, we're going to use the IP address of our first access server here. So we're connecting from our second access server to the first access server, and we are connected. You can see I'm connected to my first access server with root again. Let's clear the board here. The next step is configuring the failover function, and here is where we need to log into our primary access server admin web user interface. So let me maximize this window, and we're going to go to our admin user interface, type the username and the password. Again, this is our first or primary access server. And then we're going to click on VPN server, cluster, and failover, and then click on failover. Here we need to set up a shared virtual IP address. If you remember our slide, we chose an IP address. We're going to type it there, and then the private IP address of our primary access server, and then private IP address of our secondary access server. Once everything is done, we can go ahead and click on save and restart. This is going to take a few seconds, so I'm going to fast forward through this part. Okay, the validation is done, and we can see we get a green light on pretty much on everything, and then click on save and restart. Now we need to log into our access server with our shared IP address. So we're going to change this IP address to our shared IP address. And here we go. Let's log back in and type the password here and sign in. So we're logged in. Let's head out to VPN server and then failover, and we can see our failover setup here. Going back to our instruction page, so we're done with the step 7. Step 8, we already restart the failover node to pick up the configuration changes. Now we're going to go to step 9, which you need to update your port forwarding settings on your firewall. I've done this on my firewall, and now it's time to test our failover setup. So first we need to shut down the primary node. But before we do this, let's look at this. We can see that on our access server, our host name, OS host name is 121. So 121 is the primary host. I have a setup on AWS. This is a Windows server. If we look at the IP address, we can see it's on a completely different subnet. And besides that, it's sitting on AWS network. So let's go ahead and connect with one of the users first. Ellie is one of our users, so we're going to connect to our access server. We're connected to the access server. My local machine, the one that I'm working here right now, the IP address you can see here, 192.168.4.4. So we're going to start pinging this machine here, which is behind the access servers. And we should see, yeah, here we go. We can see the replies coming in. Now we need to shut down our primary access server 121. So this is a 121 on the terminal. I'm going to go ahead and initiate a shutdown, and here we go. So the access server, the primary access server, is gone down, and as you can see, we see a little bit of disruption here. So this is going to take somewhere between 45 to 60 seconds. As you can see, the packet received here, it shows 14 seconds ago, and we keep an eye on that. It's going to take, as I said, about 45 to 60 seconds. So I'm going to fast forward through this part, till we'll see that the second access server kicks in automatically and the user gets reconnected. And here we go, user got reconnected, and we should see, here we go, we can see the replies again. So we got reconnected. This is where the second access server kicks in and took over, basically. Let's go ahead and disconnect Ellie here. And once I disconnect, you can see that we're going to get timed out again because we're not connected to our VPN or access server. So let's get out of here. We're going to go back to access server. Let's refresh the admin web UI. And now we can see the host name is Ubuntu 2. So second access server automatically took over and we got reconnected with the minimal disruption. For more information, head out to our website, openvpn.net, and on the resources tab, you can see access server documentations and tutorials.